not the. I've never seen a man the color of this shoe. Not even from the darkest people over there to Ethiopia to Sudan, and those some real dark-skinned men. Yeah. But I've never seen anybody as black as this shirt. Yeah. So when they call you black or call me black, that's really a derogatory term. That's really a thing of disgust, because black means to be void of light, negative, dead. Anything that's equated with evil, they label it black. Yeah. All right, and that's the reason why they call these people on this sign black. But they've adopted that term so much because they're used to hearing it. We've been hearing that for the last 50, 60, 70 years. We went from Hebrews to colored to African American to we just black to niggas and Negroes, you know, and we've heard it so much to the point it's been endeared in our mind. So if you tell a so-called Negro that he's not black, he's gonna be like, what do you mean I'm not black? I am black. I'm like, Negro, look at your skin. You lighter than me. You're not black, dude. Stop calling yourselves black. And that's why we're telling you, Jakes, stop calling yourselves black, man. All right, because that's a negative construct. The word black was a social construct invented in, I believe, the year of 1681. The same thing with white. They labeled white on themselves to call themselves pure, and they label you black to call you just a person that's negative and void of light. But reality, we're the real white people because we're the ones with the truth. We got the Holy Bible and we know who we are. Because white means purity, and in order to be pure, you have to come back to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. You know?
Now for the 12, you have written here the 12 tribes of Israel, and you have got names here. Are these, what are these? Judah, Benjamin, Levi?
Those are the rest of the 12 tribes of Israel, because you got to understand what 12 tribes in Israel.
Now, what do you mean by tribes? Do you mean, how about this one, for example, this is the name of a tribe that you visit a person called Judah? Or what?
Judah, yeah, the Negroes.
Yeah. And how about this one,
Benjamin, the West Indies would be the Jamaicans. Then you got Levi, which would be the Haitians. You got Simeon, which would be the Dominicans. You got Zebulon, would be the Guatemalans, the Panamanians. Ephraim, the Puerto Ricans. Manasseh, the Cubans. Gad, the Native Americans. Reuben, the Seminole Indians. Naphtali would be the Argentinians, the Chileans. Asher would be the Colombians, the Uruguayans, and Issachar, the Mexicans.
You mean these are followers of these people, or these?
Well, these people are these people. These people have just been called this.
But these are names of people, of persons
in the Bible, but we're the descendants of those people. We're the offspring.
What's the relationship between these people, these persons?
You said what?
A relationship? Are they? I don't know.
They're brothers.
They're brothers.
They're lost. Yes, they're brothers.
Okay, so how about their father?
Yeah, these are 12 different families. You could think of it like that. Like these are different. Because of course Judah was a man, Benjamin was a man, Gad was a man, but their people, their descendants have that name too. You see what I'm saying? So if I'm a son of Naphtali, for example, then I'm Naphtali as well. But this is just what they call it today. This is their real name. This who we really are. See what I mean?
So they're brothers. These are brothers.
Yeah.
They were brothers. How about who was their father? Their father?
Jacob,
that's it. This is what I want to
Check this out. Check this out. This is Numbers 1 and 18. It says here.
I've gotten the point. Hurry up, please.
You gotta go?
Okay.
Yeah. It says, Numbers 18, it says, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upper. All right. So the house of Israel, let's just say Levi, he was a son of Jacob, but his sons would be considered Levites because they're their own patriarchs, so to speak. So anybody that was bring forth through the tents of Levi, they would be called a Levite. That's just the particular patriarch name of the man of Levi. He was a real man, but you have to understand he have offspring. Same thing, right? If my name, say if my last name was Dallas, right? And let's just say if I name my son Dallas, his son, and then they would be off my bloodline. So technically, they would have that name. It was supposed to continue. This is why a lot of times in families, if you notice, they continue the tradition of the father having a name, then the son, then the grandson, generational name, so to speak.
Is there one missing, by the way?
No. You talking about Dan, the tribe of Dan?
No, not Dan. One.
Dan would be the only tribe that's missing from that.
So maybe
Joseph goes into Ephraim and Manasseh.
Can I take a picture of this?
Yeah, go ahead.
I got another precept.
Go ahead.
It's the book of Deuteronomy 7, verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
That's right. So he
That's
chose
our
us to
favorite
be
precept right there. Verse 7 and 6. Figure that out.
Yeah, we're a special people unto the Most High. We are a special people, and this is why we have the talent that we have. This is why you look at our people that are the best dancers, the best sportsmen. They excel in everything they do. As low as we've become as a nation, our people are still the breadwinners of the world. Because who makes up the basketball? So-called Negroes, you know. What about in the baseball? The so-called Latin tribes. And then look at the MMA. Shit, man. MMA, the Colombians, they dominate that.
Oh, yes.
You know.
Israel Adesanya.
Yeah.
He's a
He's
Jake.
a Jake. He's a Jake.
John Bone Jones. Straight up Judah.
Shit, what's my boy name? Anderson. What's his name?
Anderson
Silva.
Okay, gentlemen. See you another time.
All right.
Have a good day.
Take it
Yes,
easy.
sir. Have it easy, man.
Have a good one.
Another precept.
Go ahead.
This is Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
Yep, you break it down, bro.
All right, so this is talking about a future prophecy of the transatlantic slave trade. So we're going into how we are the true people of the scriptures, and this is a prophecy that proves that we are the Hebrew Israelites, because we are the only people that went through this. Now, this did happen in various parts of the world as far as slavery of people going on ships, but a lot of those people are actually scattered all over the world too. That went into slavery. We went into slavery here in Egypt mostly, but we went into slavery in various parts of the world too.
Oh yeah, like the North Africans, like they said, like certain Europeans put North Africans in slavery and sent them over there on cargo. It's like those were Jakes, man.
Yep. Not only that, when the conquistadors came over here, and during the Spanish Inquisition, they took millions of so-called Native Americans over there to Spain on ships.
Right.
So that's another prophecy that's been fulfilled. The transatlantic slave trade happened to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and the Native American Indians.
Like the Carthaginians, they were based in North Africa. I think it's modern day Tunisia. That was an ancient empire of Hamites mixed with Jakes. 'Cause those were the what they call them, the Phoenicians. And they sailed to North Africa and they had different colonies. One of their most powerful colonies became an empire, and that was Carthage. And there was a history of wars between them and Rome. They were Rome's arch enemy for a point in time, and that show you through the spirit. Because who's Esau's arch enemy? Jake.
Wait, didn't Hannibal come out of that?
Yeah, Hannibal. He came from Carthage, and he was a Jake. He was an Israelite man. You know.
Just to add to that, they
was,
traveled
you know,
through
they was
Spain.
going off because they worship Baal and all that shit, but they were still Jakes, you know. And then you had the by 700 AD, after Rome fell and shit, you had the Ishmaelites come through North Africa and conquer that shit. So that's why you got a lot of dudes like them. But some of them, even though they might look like Ishmaelites, they go back to like the ancient Jakes that was there.
So I thought he said Nigeria. I couldn't hear him speaking so low. But no, but like those Jakes from Carthage, when they migrated to Spain, they set up what you call the Moorish Empire, man.
Yeah. Or even the Jakes we speak about, a lot of the Sicilians being Jakes, well, they came from North Africa first. Because a lot of the people that was conquering shit with Muhammad and the Arabs, they were Jakes. They were just Jakes that believed in Islam. They were dark and everything. But you would never know because they don't really go into what these men look like or their background or how far their lineage goes back. But Jake was scattered amongst all kingdoms. So a lot of them motherfuckers that was in North Africa and spreading Islam, those were Jakes, man. Like the dude, what was his name? Fucking Bilal or Belly, something like something to the effect Bilal. He was a Jake that believed in Islam.
Because Muhammad had a lot of those Jakes because for one thing, he knew that they were Israelites. So in order to get that land back, like later on down the line, you had what they called the Crusades, man. But before then, the whole nation of Islam, well, not the nation of Islam, the religion of Islam was set up to really conquer back the Holy Land because they wanted that land back, which technically wasn't theirs. But I got a precept here. This is the book of Baruch 2:34. It says, "And I will bring them again into the land which I promised with the oath to their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." All right. And it says here, "And they should be lords of it, and I will increase them, and they should not be diminished." And the point I'm making is the fact that they equated Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob with the fathers of these people. And the land it's talking about is the land of Israel, which is going to be built back up. You know, because at first just looking at it, I'm like, look like Issacharites, but no, you can tell they wasn't. Then again, they could have been Jews, you know, because obviously they're inquiring about something they've been seeing in YouTube videos, you know, and the truth is coming out. There's going to be a lot of people that's going to start coming up inquiring about this truth, because now the prophecies are coming to pass. And you're going to have to dissect between who's Israelites and who's not, because you're going to have a lot of heathens, like it tell you in Ezra the 4th chapter, that really want to build with us.
That's right.
You know, they try to upset the purpose.
I appreciate the back up.
Go ahead.
Psalms 85:11. Truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. Hey, so truth is coming out. That truth is springing out, who we are. And it's the spirit that dude came up here inquiring about the sign of who we are, because you niggas need to wake up that you ain't no fucking Africans, man. Now you're finding out that you're Hebrew Israelites, and the Lord took down your biggest fucking idol that equated you as being so-called African. Because that's what that whole movement was about. Was to get you Negroes to not understand or comprehend that you're Israelites and want to be the Hamites. You're not Ham.
Right.
That's right.
We're the chosen people of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai.
Right.
You know? And I got one more precept, Bible Shah, if I can bring that out.
We've done the Matthew 24, and 14. Find me that in the Apocrypha, bro, when it tells you that the book should be open. I think that's 2nd Ezra 6, I think 6. I think it's 6.
This is 1 Chronicles 12:8. And of the Gadites, there separated themselves unto David into the whole, into the wilderness, men of might and men of war fit for battle.
Oh, and you can tell, man, like going back to like Narragansett, or what's this guy named Geronimo? They said he walked and didn't leave footprints. These was the mighty men of valor, man, of the Gadites, from the Seminole tribes of Florida, or the Seminole Indians, and all the way down to the Gadites, man.
Hey, you brothers should check out that movie, The 24th, man.
Yeah,
That shit was dope. Yeah, it's new. It's based upon the Houston riots that happened in 1917. I believe Apostle Hart did a video kind of going into it, but that was a true story, man. They was taking Esau out in that motherfucker.
Well, that proves that Esau can't do nothing with our people, man. That proves the scripture when it tells you that one people should be stronger than the next. Esau can't do nothing with Jake, man. Not on a physical level anyway. You know, when it comes to weapons and so forth, you know, he got the one up because that's his blessing. But look, come on, man. Look at the slave revolts. Look at the Levi, what they did to the French, man. They basically won the war. That's why Haiti is pretty much a third world country right now. They had to get them through financial means, political means, because they couldn't do shit with us on a physical tip, you know? Even the same thing with the Gadites. The only reason why they took down Gad and Reuben is because you had a bunch of fucking moles that was among our people that sold our people out and let them know the strongholds. That's the only how they was able to conquer. Esau didn't conquer Gad because he was just a more swift warrior. No, they had other people that they hired to spy out Gad and that knew the tactics, and they came against us.
Yeah,
It's easy.
Gadites coming up against Gadites.
Yeah.
That's right.
It was on Gadites that killed Sitting Bull.
Sitting Bull, yeah.
It was his own people that killed him. Fucking coon, Uncle Tomahawks that were, I think they were like police. They worked for the police force, and they took him out when he was an old man.
Same thing with like Malcolm X. We gonna go on a simple level. Who killed Malcolm X? A bunch of niggas, man. They said, what was his name? Elijah Muhammad, I think. The Shriner, I think he orchestrated the hit. You know, because they knew that for one thing, Malcolm X was gonna, basically he was coming into the truth of an Israelite, but the fact that Islam was losing money, because basically he was a cash cow for Elijah Muhammad. He was a fucking cash cow. And the fact he was getting ready to lead a nation, they're like, wait a minute, man, you ain't going nowhere. We need you, you know, because the nation
was exposing Elijah Muhammad too.
Call him a Shriner. Called his ass a damn devil.
He was popping in with people women, congregation, little girls and
That nigga was a fucking homo.
That's right. And it says, and of the Gadites there separate themselves unto David, and to the whole, to the wilderness, men of might and men of war fit for the battle, that could handle shield and buckler, whose faces were like the faces of lions,
Right.
and were as swift as a rose upon the mountains.
And then you go back into Gadites attire, man. You see the feathers and shit they got, man. You see the war paint they wore. You see the garbs they wore. That's where they got the whole concept of guerrilla warfare from Jedi, man.
That's right.
CQC, Gad. You know, Krav Maga, Gad. Even though they say that was an Israeli martial arts, but where they get it from? Jake.
Right.
Same thing with Casey Fighting Back. All those martial
Amalek
arts.
can't come up with no shit like that.
Like, what's the guru name that came up with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, man? He was really a Jake, but I think they adopted it. Amalek adopted it, but they had to relearn it back from Jake. Because it was like a family thing. I forgot his name. He was going into it the other day. But basically, man, Esau, he's not an inventor of anything.
Talking about the Gracies.
Gracie's, yeah.
Right. Right.
They had the whole family that was incorporated in the family, but they had to relearn it from another particular family that incorporated on the style. So they had to kind of repolish it up and introduce it out there, man.
That's right.
But Jake came up with that.
That's right, because we're bringing all that out because the point I wanted to make with that scripture is that you niggas don't understand that we have a huge, powerful influence on the earth,
Right.
and we are the faces of special warfare,
Right.
and special forces and martial arts and all of that. You know, so why do you need to look forward to a so-called Black Panther movie to equate any type of royalty with the Hamites? Because that's us, and that's one reason why you gravitated towards that movie. Because the beginning of the movie, they showed you the men with bucklers and shields shouting and shouting war chants, and they were fighting and stuff. So Jake, of course, gonna eat that up because it's in your spirit. But they try to convince you to think that you're so-called African, and you're not.
That shit was going off though. You know how they had the woman guards and shit with the bald head? That was some Hermetic shit.
Yep.
I mean, you had Jake that was doing that, but that was straight ham, man. When they, you know, that was off, man.
Right.
I got that second entrance.
All right. Matter of
Second
fact, let me bring this out real quick to back them up. Then we on it. This is Jeremiah 51, and I'm gonna start at verses 19. It says, "The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the form of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance, and the Yahweh of hosts is his name."
Right.
So Jake is the inventor of all things, man. Esau just capitalized and put patents on it, man. So, like Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee invented that of incorporating other martial arts from Wing Chun, Kung Fu, you know, which was actually all the martial arts was started by Jake, man. You know?
That's right, but it's all here. That's us all day, man. So you need to be more proud of. We've been out here telling you, but you just can't see it. Like the brother was saying, y'all don't have the visuals to understand the words that we're saying. We're preaching about royalty, man.
Yep.
Royalty and men of war, and the scriptures say Yahweh Himself is a man of war. So you don't need a Black Panther movie to come out to equate your royal heritage with another nation, man.
Right.
It's like the scriptures, this is a whole world in itself. Like, paint the picture and get the visuals. You got to be a visual type of person to see what the scriptures talking about. Like, for example, it took Solomon, what was it, 40 years to build his house? 40 years to build his house. So that was a lavish kingdom. You know, a lavish kingdom with servants. One of Solomon's servants was so decked out that he was confused for Solomon, man. So that will blow Black Panther, everything they got on film out of water.
Right.
But the thing is, Jake can't see it because the scriptures is hidden to them. You know?
If I could add, bro, because Black Panther didn't have the nations in subjection. Black Panther didn't have slaves, man.
Right.
So
He didn't want
obviously,
slaves.
yeah, we was doing it on a bigger level.
That's right. This is your true power of Black Panther right here, right now, man.
Yeah, and since when David or King Solomon gonna say, okay, let's go make a pact with Esau? Like at the end, he was supposed to go to the UN or something and make that peace set with a
Vibranium.
man. That wasn't. Hey, Killmonger was in the real right spirit. You know. Because look, David, man, look what the Most High tells Saul. He said, look, you gotta smite every male in Edom. He told him, he said, look, smite every male in Amalek. Saul failed to do it. That was David's fucking mission, to kill all these damn devils, man. But you know, for prophecy's sake, the Lord didn't allow that to happen. And that's why Saul ended up losing the kingdom to David, because he didn't kill off all Amalek, man, like he was supposed to.
Right.
You know, you had Joab, you know, boy, you had all these different men that really wanted to put a rid to the end of these damn devils. You know? But we understand why it didn't happen, because, hey, if he was to kill every male in Edom, this captivity would be null and void. So the Lord used the nation of Edom for this particular time. It was really just set up for this particular time only, because if you look at all throughout history, Esau, Edom, he was there, but he always played the backfield, so to speak, but he had an influence on a lot of shit. Because I think when the Babylonians took us down, he was the one that pretty much gave them insight on what Jake was like our refuge and shit. He like, look, man, this is the deal. This is what they are. This is how they gonna act. Take away these people's power, and for them to worship their power, you can take them down.